Welcome back. The recent Yahoo data breach affecting 500 million accounts, serving as a vivid reminder of how our personal data can be exposed really easily. This comes as a whopping 41 million Americans have had their identities stolen. What's worse, many consumers continue to engage in this risky behavior when it comes to protecting our personal data. I want to bring in the author of this survey, Mike Satera, analyst at bankrate.com. Mike, good to see you. Thanks so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Your survey shows 49 million people know someone who has had their identity stolen. What do we need to do, and what are we doing in terms of mistakes every day that are making us vulnerable?
So there are a lot of things that everyday Americans do all the time that are leaving themselves open for the bad guys to get their data. And among the things that we've found are, like, you have your bank account, you have your bills, and you don't shred them when you're done using them. A lot of people just toss them in the garbage. If someone digs through your trash, they can get that information. We're talking about not regularly checking your credit reports, which is a way to find signs of fraud. We're talking about going to the local coffee shop and using the unsecured Wi-Fi there to conduct banking business. These are all bad habits that people do that leave them exposed to possible theft.
So the first thing you said was not shredding your information?
Yeah, so when you get a bank statement or your credit card statement and you're finished with it, you really should stick that into the shredder and not just toss it into the garbage can, because there is sensitive information on those bills that people can use to try and break into your accounts.
Yeah, it's good advice. Do you guys have a shredder?
I do.
You do?
Yeah, I keep it at home.
So do I.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
it's important.
Anthony, do you?
I'm afraid to answer it on national television. I actually don't. Now I'm going to have to go out and get one.
No, but just to shred documents like what Mike is talking about.
Mike's 100% correct.
Why aren't people taking more advantage of this? And why aren't they taking advantage, for example, of the free credit reports?
So I think a lot of it has to do with convenience. I mean, it really is not terribly convenient to check your credit, even though it's very easy at this point, but it's sort of not top of mind. People don't think about doing these things every day. And then when you talk about things like using unsecured Wi-Fi, you're in the coffee shop, you're not even thinking about the fact that this is something that someone else can break into. I just don't think a lot of these things are top of mind, and I think that a lot of people believe that there's nothing that they can do to protect themselves. You hear about the breaches like what had happened at Yahoo, and you think, well, you know, I can't control that. But really, there are things you can do as a consumer to put yourself in a better position to not be taken advantage of in case of those big breaches.
Michael, I'm sorry.
No, Anthony, go ahead.
What percentage of people do you think, individuals, not corporations, do you think have been breached in the country?
If you have not been breached yet, you're lucky. And if you have not been breached yet, you're going to be breached at some point.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But is it usually the individual's fault that it happened in the first place? Not to blame the victim, but is that generally the case?
I would say no, because you know, if you go back again to the case of the Yahoo breach, there's nothing that the individual did to expose that sensitive data. It's a matter of bad guys, bad actors breaking into these large corporations' networks and stealing your data. You can't do anything about that. What you can do is make sure that if the bad guys get the password for your Yahoo account, that you are not having the same password for every other account you own. And we found that more than a quarter of Americans either have the exact same password on every account or on most accounts. So, you know, if your password, even if it is a good one, gets into the hands of the wrong people, they could more easily then go and find your other accounts and use that password to get in.
So, Mike, with all of the news coming out about WikiLeaks and hacked emails and phone calls, does the average American need to be concerned about even things that we email? Can foreign actors get into our private email accounts?
Yeah, so I think the sort of the smart way to go about things is when you're using a public email account, something like Yahoo or Hotmail or even Gmail, it's probably smart not to put sensitive data on there. If you're going to be doing that kind of, sending that kind of email, it's probably best to be doing that over an account that your company owns or something more protected than these public email accounts.
Okay, so don't use public Wi-Fi at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Mike, thanks so much. Great advice. We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you.
Mike Satera there. Still